So, hello and welcome to another live stream. Hope you can all hear me. Let me just check if you can hear me. Yeah, sound shows as if it was coming through. So yeah, let me know. Someone can maybe post in the comments or in the chat that you can actually hear me. Welcome everybody to this live stream today. In the meantime, while we're waiting for a few more people to come in, maybe you could, and that would be great, hit the like button. That would really help the stream here as we're waiting for those CPI figures. Just waiting for someone to confirm that you can hear me. I don't want to be mumbling for a minute and then I just figure out that something's wrong, but it actually shows that you should hear me. So yeah, yes sir, thank you very much, super. So yeah, we are waiting for CPI figures. I would highly appreciate if you could hit the like button. It would be great to get a few more people in as we're waiting here for CPI. I don't think it will generate massive volatility, but obviously Bitcoin, Ethereum are the key decision point. Oh, Scott can make it. Welcome, welcome. You can normally make the live streams, but I think CPI you can. That's fantastic. Hi, Scott. I know you can never join the other ones that we do for members because they are at a different time zone, aren't they? Great. Okay. Yeah. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. I think honestly, if we look at the charts, not much has happened since my last updates. Because obviously the market is sort of waiting for that CPI catalyst, I guess. Last few times CPI didn't do much since Bitcoin has been in this range, so it's been a bit boring, obviously. But let's take a look at what's expected for today. So I already highlighted it earlier on Twitter and also in the membership that we have a CPI today, obviously. Here you can see that's actually the Forex Factory website is actually pretty good to get a good and decent financial calendar, and it shows today what's expected. So 3.3% is expected year over year annualized inflation, which is higher than the previous month. So the forecast is for inflation to increase, which it hasn't been, for a few months. So I think for over a year. I think last year in June it started to drop, or July. I would need to look that up, but it's not so important. What is important to understand that for the first time in a long time, inflation is set to increase again. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call that bearish because this would have been priced in already. That's the market expectation. It's likely already priced in. Yeah. So people have already understood that. But what is going to change market prices and lead to volatility is if there are any surprises. So it's the degree of surprise relative to what's perceived by traders, analysts, market participants. So if we see anything that deviates massively from there, you would probably see a more or less severe reaction. If it's around 3.3%, I don't think we're going to see much, to be honest. I don't think it might be a bit of a non-event. Still, though, we will see short-term volatility. And month over month, 0.2%, that is set to stay as it has been. So here also, if it is coming in like that, the actual figures, like the expectations, I wouldn't really call it bullish or bearish. It's probably going to be a little bit neutral, fairly neutral. So anything higher than that would potentially be short-term bearish for crypto. Anything lower than that, short-term bullish for crypto. Okay, so I think it's pretty straightforward. Let me see if there are any questions in the chat. So, okay, the very first question by Shafahat. So you asked about how you can join our membership. Just feel free to, below the YouTube videos, you see a join button. You can easily join there. Alternatively, you can check our website, and under membership, you can join the membership. It's very reasonably priced and you get tons of content. Honestly, you get it. You can always quit, or not quit, cancel if you don't like the content we provide. But I sincerely hope you like it if you're willing to check it out, and anyone else, of course, as well. But let's get back to crypto. Any other questions? So let me see. We're not too many people today, so see if there is. I'm just reading through the chat quickly here. Are there any questions that are not really, I think. So we just look at what's going on in the markets, I think, unless I missed a question. But most of it seems just to have been casual chatting. So yeah, maybe, oh, thank you, Scott. Yeah, please join the membership. Sorry, just coughing now. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart, what is to be expected. So I think that's what most people are here for. So Bitcoin chart, actually, if you've watched the last video, not much change. So my view is still that there is a risk or chance or probability, it depends on from what perspective you're watching. For some people, that is an opportunity if price comes back into the yellow box. For other people, it is a risk, depending on how you're positioned. But what I can tell you is that at the moment, the white wave count, which would still suggest a lower low in the yellow support area in this wave 2 correction, that is still a very likely option because price has not rallied impulsively or given us any 5-wave move of the recent lows. Okay, so I'm still tracking primarily the white wave count. I give the yellow wave count a chance, but it would need to convince me. The yellow wave count, you see the roadmap clearly on the chart. So what it could be at the moment is just a B wave retracement. But I can tell you that I will take that yellow wave count off the chart below a certain level, which means that below a certain level, the downside momentum should increase. And that's the level to watch for me. And that is the $29,000 level. Now, below 29,000, this should really increase that momentum to the downside. And I would then expect us to reach first 28,320 and then 27,480, maybe even a little lower. Okay, but bear in mind, we also have this descending broadening wedge, which I call in Elliott Wave language, we call that a diagonal structure. So you will have a trend line here that will be relevant, and maybe even where they cross, we could get a bit of a confluence of support. So a lot is pointing still into this, I should set it here. A lot is still pointing into the region between 28,320 and 27,480 for Bitcoin. Yeah. Ethereum has, in my opinion, a higher likelihood of having bottomed already. Here are a few important levels to watch as well. First of all, the 1850 level, which bulls and bears are fighting for at the moment. If that is holding in an impulse, price could give us a 5-wave move. That would be a fairly reliable structure. And then if we see a 3-wave pullback afterwards, we can confirm that price is bottomed and the rally to $2,500 should begin. But until then, we only have a 3-wave top and it's very fragile and can still break down. And I would look at 1780 for the next target. Still here also for me, the white wave count is leading, which should lead to another low. The yellow count, I'm very open towards that, but it needs to show me 5 waves up first to believe it. And then I'm looking for the first or the next trade setup in an ABC structure down. And that could set price up for a rally. Set price up. It could lead to the jump into the $2,500 region. So no change to previous updates. And I said it late yesterday, we're probably not going to see much movement until CPI. Okay, so now tons of questions came in. So let me check while I take some coffee. I hope you all have your coffee or popcorn or whatever you need. Thanks all for the nice comments. That's really, really great. Appreciate that. Scott, yes, XDC. Let's take a look at that. I haven't looked at the chart for a couple of days. But let's take a look. Oh yeah, so that sort of has followed at the moment the forecast. So we had this potential 5-wave move up, yeah, into these recent highs. And we were looking for an A wave down after the break of the, so we said with the break of the trend line, we are likely getting into a wave 2 pullback zone or have our wave 2 pullback. Now, the most likely support range for a wave 2 is basically between the 50% level and the 78.6 retracement. So we talk about 5.1 cents down to 3.7. Bigger picture, as long as we're holding 3.7, it should be able to rally in a third wave. Below that level, it's likely going to break down, could lead to new lows and might collapse. So it looks like to me that we are still here in this corrective structure. I haven't got a definite low in place. I mean, this was likely the A wave low of the wave 2. The question is now, okay, has this been the B wave or is the B wave still unfolding? That is sort of the uncertainty we deal with. Can't really answer that. For me, I would prefer if the B wave is still running to give me a clearer 3-wave structure, which would again be an ABC structure, right? A, B, C in wave B, and maybe to do another retest of the trend line, and then ideally another low. So for me, that's not sufficient of that's not a sufficient correction for me in this wave 2 yet. but I can give you the level that needs to break to the upside to make it more likely that it's already, so the alternative has to be the wave 2 is already in, okay? Because technically we have a 3-wave move down. Is it likely? Not really for me at the moment. Yeah, I would say this is not sufficient in terms of a correction because it hasn't even reached the 38.2 FIB level. But of course, we always need to know the level that, if broken, tells us we are wrong. So that would be the 78.6 retracement, and that level is at 8.5 cents. So if price breaks above 8.5 cents, I would say that we are likely already in a breakout. At least it would be an early sign. But I would only believe it if it breaks above that level and gives me 5 waves. So at the moment, I would say, okay, there's a good chance maybe in a C wave to get into this region and then come down in the larger C wave. So nothing changed against 3.7 cents. Bigger picture, we can give that bullish wave count a chance. So it doesn't look too bad, XDC. Yeah? So it's just sort of doing its correction at the moment. The move down also doesn't look impulsive. It looks corrective, which is good. Yeah. Hope that helps. So just reading. Cuban, prior to September, is it advisable to transfer from altcoins to Bitcoin? I don't know. I can't really give you any advice for that. I mean, Bitcoin if we look at long term, Bitcoin is winning compared to all altcoins, and it always has been. So cycle over cycle, Bitcoin is outperforming most altcoins. But yeah, I wouldn't try to move everything over to Bitcoin. But that's up to you. You know, that depends on your portfolio really. So can't really give you any advice on that. But Bitcoin is really strong, and I don't think at the moment this is an altcoin market. It just isn't. Certainly some altcoins are performing, but the majority is just suffering, and Bitcoin is performing really well. So Matic, I'm just having a look at, random requests here. While we're waiting for CPI. CPI comes in 15 minutes. I'm actually on the, oh no, let me open that. I close it probably. Need to get to Twitter or X. Oh no, yeah, I've got it open. Still looking for the Twitter logo, but they changed it obviously. So here apparently you get the latest, we get the latest and quickest update here on investing.com. So I've got that open and observe it in parallel. What did I want to do? Matic. Yeah. Oh, I've got it here. Yeah, Matic, not very clear bottoming structure so far, so still would be very open to another drop here. It would need to do a lot to confirm to me that a low is in place, but the bullish support level is 55.3 cents. Against that level, it can move higher in a third wave, but is it highly likely? It's not a highly reliable setup or structure here at the moment, but the bullish support is 55.3 cents. Below that, we've got 48.5 and 41. Below 41, this is going to go long-term bearish, unfortunately, most likely. And next key resistance will be 79 to 80 cents. But in between, it's just messy at the moment. This could even develop into some kind of a triangle pattern. So it's quite an unreliable structure because it's corrective to the upside. It's sort of corrective to the downside. So again, it could develop into a triangle. That's sort of the stuff you can't really predict. Just recognizing that the structure is at the moment moving in a corrective fashion. So yeah, it's way too early to confirm a triangle. If it now moves up, makes a lower high, comes down, higher low, yeah, then we deal with a triangle here. So it's fairly directionless, you would say. So it's not very trending at the moment. Overall, I'm still feeling good about Matic because it's got a decent long-term chart still. Yeah. Will we have an altcoin season? Certainly not yet. I mean, my personal view, I mean, nobody's got the crystal ball, right? But my view is that the altcoins are not really going to give us a mad rally until Bitcoin reaches sort of 40 to 50K. I think Bitcoin is going to lead. And I think then we are going to see some of that liquidity spill over into altcoins. But I think we're not there yet. It just doesn't feel and doesn't look like an altcoin market. Certainly they will perform here and there, as you always get it. But a real crazy and mad altcoin season that most people are waiting for, I think we're not going to have it until Bitcoin has reached like 40 to 50K. Okay. Yeah. And there's probably when a lot of people are going to start to buy Bitcoin when it gets close to the all-time high again, which is probably when the altcoins are going to start to rally. Yeah. And then most people will miss that rally because they think Bitcoin is going to go up and the altcoins aren't. But then I think they probably, they're usually going to be on the wrong side. The thing is, everybody expects an alt season, right? Because it always happened. Things might get different, right? Because most projects are just experiments, okay, to call them nicely. Most projects are experiments, and the vast majority of projects or coins are just gonna die. That is reality, right? And most altcoin charts also don't have, or most altcoins don't have good projects or like charts. Yeah, that's very important to understand. If the hype is gone, there's nothing left. It is the fact. It is fact. Okay, there's nothing left. A few will survive, certainly, and a few will make it, in my opinion. But it's very much an experiment. Okay, these altcoins. So it's just be aware. But yeah, I think there will be an altcoin rally. But I think not yet. Okay, XRP, there was a question. Yeah, check out my XRP video yesterday. It should tell you everything basically. The relevant short-term support for XRP. I can just quickly go into the XRP chart. Relevant short-term support for XRP, I think is 61 cents now. Yep. Here, that support area, that's the micro support area. It could turn around here. It technically has done enough to complete this correction down. 61 cents is micro support. If it breaks below that, then the 56-cent level will become relevant. Below that, yeah, probably touch the trend line, and below that, it could go to new lows. That would really be bad. It would already be quite bad if it breaks below 56 cents, to be honest. But short-term support is sort of to track the short-term structure here. 61 cents is short-term support because there's a potential it rallied in 5 waves. Could have pulled back in 3. Maybe finished, maybe not yet, but it should hold 61 cents if this is a 1-2 setup. And then it could rally in a 3rd wave, but it needs to hold 61 cents. So at the moment, I think it's sold off quite a lot. Doesn't look like we're already in the 3rd wave, and I think it's waiting for CPI. But certainly this is the area where it needs to show something to avoid a drop to 56. And it's another 13 minutes. So XDC I already covered. There was a question here. XLM. So if I'm not talking, I'm quickly having a look at the chat in between, right? Because just sort of okay. Okay, so that's XLM. XLM in a triangle structure here. I think in a potential breakout to the upside, obviously we need to wait for the breakout to get a direction. Yeah, it's just consolidating. You've got that balance of forces here on the chart at the moment. And a break to the upside could spark a rally, depending on how you measure it, but certainly into the red zone, I would say. There's a good chance for that. That would, however, be a major decision point then when it gets there, because it hasn't reached that resistance area yet. It fell quite short here. So another rally could push it into this region between 20.6 and 27 cents. In previous videos, we measured here an area of interest between 22.5 and basically 24 cents. Yeah. But this could be the last rally here before it really breaks down. So it's certainly something to watch. Yeah, sorry, just having a look at my phone because it was ringing. This is sort of what I'm watching. Below 12.5 cents, I think it's going to start to look really bad. It's probably going to break down then to 9.5, which is the next support level. But then it just rallied in 3 waves. At the moment, it still has a chance to rally in 5. But if it doesn't even do that, then yeah, 9.5 cents, and might even go to new lows. So I think for the further potential upside generally here on this chart, it would really be important to not miss the opportunity here to hold the 12.5 cent level. If the bulls cannot maintain that, this chart only rallied in 3 waves, and we're going to get a breakdown as we had it many times before on this chart, because it's long term, it's questionable. This chart, XLM, is just moving in 3 wave structures. So it is not clearly bullish and also not clearly bearish, unfortunately. So I would rather, in doubt, when I'm in doubt, I would rather be bearish or uncertain, because the initial rally happened in 2017, 2018, was just a 3-wave structure. So if the initial rally is in 3 waves, I'm not going to be clearly bullish on this chart. And you can see it's making lower highs. Higher lows, it didn't even make a new all-time high in the last bull market. So questionable, at best. And yeah, so I would give it a chance here to rally higher in the short term, but again, it needs to break out of the structure. So Gala was a question. I just made a Gala video, so check that out. There's no need to check Gala, it's not moving, and I covered a Gala video. Just did I make? Yeah, I think I made a Gala video today, so it hasn't moved. Okay, let's look at Q&T. Actually, I think that hasn't moved either, but I haven't made a video for a few days. And by the way, if anybody wants like intraday updates about coins, access to all the TradingView live charts we have, check out our gold membership. Gives you plenty of updates during the day, and you will always know what's going on every chart. Yeah, so I guess it's a bargain for that. Anybody who's interested, because I get a lot of questions below YouTube videos. You know what's happening now, what's happening now, and that's typically all answered on Telegram and Discord in the gold membership. Get plenty of updates every day. So yeah, no change. I mean, it's now in this structural support zone here again. So I highlighted, I think in previous updates, that we have support, structural support below between 95 and $102. It takes a break below that level to really spark a breakdown to $80. $80 is still my target. Sort of, I would prefer to see the $80 level, but I think it's not going to happen in a straight line. I think we're going to see probably, and that is just what probabilities would suggest, another bounce from here. Even if it's just a corrective bounce, it would be just too easy to just break down straight away. And this is just massive support. It has been for a long time now. Yeah, for a very long time. So my ideal target would still be $80, but I think it's not going to be as easy as sketched out here. I think it's going to be messy, more sideways action. And I also highlighted that anything between $95 and $120 I would not take too seriously. It's just sort of in a range, and apparently it's also moving in some kind of a triangle at the moment. So very, very boring chart. Volatility is reducing here, and anybody who wants to trade this, I mean, I think range trading is here the approach until we have a breakout either below 95 or above 120. So below 95 should take us to 80 quite quickly. There isn't much there in terms of support resistance. And to the upside, yeah, could mean that it's already bottomed, but I have no evidence for that at this stage. Okay, CB asked about GMX. Let's take a look. And in, I think, around about 6 minutes, we should get CPI. Yeah, so GMX is still in the larger wave 2. Unfortunately, it did not hold here the immediate potential, because there was a potential 5-wave move up. It wasn't very clear, so that broke. But it's still in the larger support area, which is relevant and probably more reliable. So here, yeah, how is this? Your question was, is it forming an ending diagonal? I mean, it's a bit messy. I've got WXY, but it could. So I've got the wave 1 to the upside, which peaked here likely. The question is, did it maybe peak here? But might have. So this is certainly, I would expect it to come down to 48 at least now, because it dropped below the 78.6 fib level on the smaller time frame. Yeah, very well. It could just be an ending diagonal here, which is sort of going to be a little bit more sideways oriented. Unfortunately, it didn't participate in the rally in the last few days. I would leave it like that for now, and then track here a 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, and maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This could just become a descending wedge, basically ending diagonal. That would be quite simple to track. So, you know, you often get, and I think a first piece of evidence that we have bottomed would be a break above the trend line. So that doesn't look too bad actually if we have it like that. Could do this, yeah, somehow. Let's just sort of the ideal roadmap, I would say, for this movement. Okay, and a break above the trend line could spark that third wave rally, could lead to a beginning, but I need to move the waves across here. It's just relentless. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad at the moment. It's just sort of coming down, but volatility reducing, I think volume reducing as well with that, and that's pretty good because it points towards an end of this correction. Okay, optimism. Optimism, I made a video today, and I think there's no change here either, by the way, so check that out. It will go into more detail. I've got a micro count on the chart. I think I've got a wave 4 top here. That will all be explained in the video. In the microstructure, it looks like we're currently just pulling back in some kind of a small wave 4, and I would go with this wave count, which would expect lower imminently, as long as price stays below 161. Above 161, it would need a different interpretation, but it wouldn't necessarily be bullish. I think we have started a correction here with a break below this ascending wedge, and it should go a little lower then. So I think this is going to form either an impulse down or just a correction ABC, but also that should go a little lower. Okay, GMX I did cover. Okay, Sandbox by Jake requested. By the way, in 3 minutes, we should get some volatility in, and then we'll just switch to... I haven't covered Sandbox for a while. Let's see. Not moving at all, as it seems. Okay. So also here in a potential ABC structure down, but see how long these sometimes take, right? The relevant support never broke, but the wave shifted a bit. But that's not so important. What's important is that the support so far did hold. Yeah, here the idea is, nobody's talking about Sandbox anymore. I mean, I see it when I make a video, nobody's interested, so I don't cover it very often. Have to obviously cover what's interesting for most people. Yeah, I mean, here the relevant support is 36 cents. We're quite close to that. And it would need more than just this to confirm we have bottomed. I mean, could have technically. I think we're now in a situation where the bulls just need to turn up. Below 36, it's going to turn bearish, and we are going to expect new lows below 33 cents. But until then, it has a chance. This is a leading diagonal, possibly, at best. So it's very overlapping. Could also be a correction, so we need to be cautious here. But so far, I consider that an ABC structure with an overshooting B wave. And this is sort of the area where this correction should finish, yeah. Also here, let's see, potential trend line I would use to track potential breakout corrective price channel. Yeah, when that breaks, it typically indicates that this correction is over. So that could be an interesting one for a potential rally. Now, if we consider this move down and ending diagonal, this could get another low, absolutely. Support is 38.4 and 36.1 cents. And I think now it's time to pay attention to the figures. Should come out in a minute. Let's look at what Bitcoin is doing. Not much yet. Let's see if it's doing anything. I mean, you know that sometimes it's just a non-event. Let's go to investing.com here, Twitter, X. I think here we see it normally quickly. I think they would typically post that. We just refresh that, but it's obviously not there yet. And if you see the figures before me, just post them in the chat, please. Again, quick reminder. I think it's 3.3% annualized and 0.2% month over month. 40 seconds. Feels like New Year. It's not. It's not going to be that exciting. Don't think it will be. And anything that happens, and by the way, would appreciate while we're waiting, if some of you could hit the like button if you haven't done that yet. Hello, Sondina. Welcome to the stream. So we're just waiting for CPI. And you will have a little bit of a delay in the stream. I think 30 seconds or 20 seconds. So just refreshing here. 3.2% is coming through already. I don't know where you see this stuff all the time. It's not coming through here yet. Okay, 3.2. That is a little lower than, or is it here? No, that is a little lower than the market. 2.1. So what? Two numbers? I don't know. Disappointed here by investing.com. I thought it would be a bit faster. Okay, 3.2. So that would be lower than the market originally anticipated. And month on month, okay, 0.2%. Is it Forex Factory? Are they quicker? So I will never follow investing.com on Twitter again. So let's try Forex if they actually updated it. And yeah, 3.2%. Yeah, that's lower, a little lower. It's not massive, okay? So don't expect a massive jump, but it's certainly a little bit bullish for crypto short term potentially. But overall neutral. Yeah, it's very much in the region, okay? Very much in the region of what the market expected. 3.2%, 0.2%. That's it. 0.2% was expected, month over month and core CPI, and 3.2% is just a little bit lower year over year. So let's just take a look at the Bitcoin chart. I don't think it's going to do much, to be honest. 1 second, just need to do something quickly. 1 second. I'll be back in a sec. 1 second, just. Okay. All right. Yeah, not gonna see much here. I think with that, it's gonna be a non-event. I think. But let's see. I mean, we always need to see how the stock market is gonna interpret this, and this is now obviously the time where typically a lot of volatility starts. Yeah, because the oh yeah, XRP is doing something. That's great. See if it's turning around here, I'm happy. Let's see. But yeah, you will probably see a little bit of positivity now come in, but let's see. It's not going to do much. Don't think so. Bitcoin, small reaction. Ethereum, bit of a reaction. So as a reminder here again, Ethereum, we said as long as it's holding 1850, which it did, it can give us a fifth wave. That's what we need to see. One more high would be enough for that. It would need to go above 1876 though, okay? Okay, Koilu uses trading economics, okay. Need to write that down. Oh yeah, TradingView calendar, okay. But yeah, I think Forex Factory are quicker than investing.com. So I was hoping on their Twitter it's a bit faster. I think the job report came out as well at the same time. So that's also on Forex Factory. Just saw a question there. Here, unemployment claims, 248K compared to 231. So that's higher than expected. I think that would rather indicate a weakening job market in the US. Okay, so that would also be potentially, well, see, it is still overall not too far off, is it, of the forecast? Let's see. But I don't think unemployment claims job market report has a major impact. I would need to look at it in detail, but it has a major impact on crypto. It's more like CPI, inflation, and okay, what's going to happen to the interest rates? But I think the interest rate topic, is it really going to do much? Let's see. Bitcoin is not moving. It's frozen. It's like a stable coin. So nothing. Altcoins are moving a bit, which is in line with my Bitcoin dominance analysis, by the way. BTC, for anybody who doesn't know that one, again, we cover stuff like that in the membership. Let's see what it does. Yeah, because Bitcoin dominance, but they're not rallying too much, but Bitcoin dominance is set probably to get another move down. I mean, this is a very speculative Elliott Wave count, but because you can't really do it on a percentage chart, but you can still use it, I think, to track some basic movements. And it's now rallying into resistance, so surely could go a little higher, but I think there should be one more sort of small, let's call it a small altcoin rally in the near future here with a drop down in wave C, but might not have started yet. So okay, ETH BTC was a request. So quick reminder on the Ethereum chart, I need to see a break above 1875. This is just a green candle. It's not doing anything. And it's not even broken out of the channel yet. But ETH BTC is also, for me, still set to go lower. But it's not going to be easy. It's usually not a straight line. It rarely works like this here. Yeah. It should make another move down eventually into this green support area, at least to 0.06. That's what I would like to see. It would take a break above 0.065, but in 5 waves, to confirm that a lasting low is in place. So what does that actually mean? ETH BTC, if that goes down, it means that Bitcoin should outperform Ethereum for the foreseeable future. But as you can see, it is very, very choppy. So it takes a long time for these moves to play out on the ETH BTC chart. So Solana was a question here. So Solana, I'm still looking at potentially higher as long as the 2285 level is holding. That's critical support here. So it could push higher into this zone here between $26 and then could 27 is the next one, 28.45. So short term, I'm looking at higher as long as the 2285 level is not broken to the downside. But it's a messy chart, I have to say that. Yeah, it did find support here at the 50% support level, and it's now moving into a range that is very choppy. We have a lot of historical volume there. See it on the volume profile chart. This is where it starts, yeah, just here. It's not illuminated. 1 second. I just need to do that. Yep. So you can see this volume profile here, this move up, yeah. So the volume spike. So that's the area we're moving into now. So it's likely going to slow down, and above 25.88, it should be able to move a bit quicker, but then it moves into Fibonacci resistance. So at the moment I would, but again, it's not, I don't have any clear, let me hide that again. It's not a very clear uptrend here for me. It's just messy. Unfortunately, what made this chart messy, so I cannot recognize very clearly the structures. What made this chart messy is this move up due to the XRP news. But the good news is, and I've always said that, I remain tentatively bullish short term as long as it doesn't break below that 2250 level, and that still stands. And now we have the possibility to add this micro support level, the 78.6 Fib level at 2280. But I need to see a clear 5-wave move up, which I don't have at this stage, and a 3-wave pullback to indicate that we are doing this here, the 1-2 setup, which should lead to a 3rd wave rally. Alternatively, this is just a B-wave top at the moment. Yeah. So not very clearly trending, to be honest. Yeah, it broke above the trend line, but that's nothing reliable. It's just daily volatility in crypto, okay? So, yeah, Solana, again, above 2250, okay, or 2285, a break below that would be the first warning, but it's sort of a little bit of a range. It's not like one level that if broken, it's going to break down. It's sort of going down, in my opinion, all the way to around about 2250 here. Yeah, so it's a little bit dynamic here, this support. It's a very important support level. You had previous resistance here. Here it was a breakout point, yeah. So very important. Well, Bitcoin still not doing much. So yeah, it's, you know, it was a non-event, unfortunately. CPI again. I was hoping we finally get a little bit of movement here. Okay, so okay, H bar is a request. So let's see. Let's see if something happens in the next few minutes or so. But typically, so H bar is just sort of, I think, still in line with what I highlighted in yesterday's video. We have at best, and that would be a very optimistic interpretation, a 5-wave move to the upside here. Okay, very optimistic in this leading diagonal. That would be the optimistic bullish point of view. But in this scenario, I would also expect it to come down in an ABC structure, deeper in support once more. Bullish support is 4.4 cents, but I can tell you that 4.4 cents is the last reliable bullish support. Below that level, I think we're going to head to new bear market lows. And this is not a structure I would put much confidence in. Yeah, the yellow wave count is also very likely, which would lead to another low. That would be a new bear market low then. So I don't see anything clear here. There is a decent, I think, reward to risk opportunity if we get back into the orange zone, preferably eventually between 5 cents and 4.4. So unless it really does an aggressive breakout above the wedge pattern and would take a move above 6.5 cents, I'm looking for lower here. Yeah, and then this will be the next decision point, probably in the lower half of the orange box. Just sort of probability wise, how price would react to such a structure. Typically would come down and typically would get quite deep into support. But it doesn't look like, it doesn't look as if it is already, well, it might have started the A wave now. We'll see. It's certainly not a highly likely structure because it's not an impulse, okay? Potential diagonal, and that allows me to calculate support here, and it's 4.4 cents. Oh, thank you very much, Gabochi. Okay, Casper is an interesting one because Casper did break to the downside of an ascending wedge today. Don't know if you've seen the previous video I made. Would suggest to watch that for context, but we said that this might get towards the end of a third wave rally here. The first early signal that this rally is over would be a sustained break below this dashed line. So this might be happening right now. By the way, it reached the minimum expectation here for this C wave of a wave 3. I would expect it after completion of the C wave, and it's too early to confirm it, right? But it's early days, right? So if it really comes down now, the relevant support would be, it's quite far away actually, 1.1 cents. So the reason why it's so far away is first of all the previous B wave low, so it's structural support, but also because if this is really a diagonal structure that I'm tracking in the yellow count, it can go down to the 61.8 retracement and still be bullish eventually, right? So we're currently at a potential trend change. So it's worth observing that on the lower time frame. Relevant bigger picture bullish support is at 1.12 cents. Now, if we zoom in, this is just trying to break outside of the wedge. And unless it really gets very quickly back into that wedge pattern, I think we're going to head down to that ascending trend line. And if that breaks, then I would confirm that we're in the wave 4. Certainly, it would be likely, as long as we don't break above the Sunday high, that it now comes back to this trend line. It looks like that. It broke below that wedge pattern now. Yes, it's early days, but a few 4-hour candles already closed, and it's, to really get clarity, this is a small head and shoulders pattern here as well. To really get clarity, I would want to see a break below 4.4 cents. This is a bit like a neckline of the head and shoulders, and I think then it could really get some downside momentum. But overall, not a bad chart. I mean, it's not a very bullish, well, you could say it's bullish, but it's just a short chart history. So it's not that established yet, okay? But overall, as long as the 1.12 cent level isn't broken to the downside long term, this is not going to be bearish. In short term, I just told you the relevant level to watch. And okay, we can cover INJ as well. No change here to previous updates, I think. I don't know if you watched the last videos I had. Here we've got a strong rejection at the 10-cent level. That was no surprise. So it seems to be coming down in this C wave at the moment. Not a very reliable chart either, because it's just moving in 3-wave structures, but we can still track movements. It broke this head and shoulders now, and I would expect it to hit the trend line now. There's ascending trend line next. See how it reacts to that. In the worst case, if it breaks, $6.18 would be support. Yeah, but below that level, I haven't really got anything bullish left, because then it topped only in 3 waves. So if it can't maintain $6.18, then it's going to be a bit difficult for the chart, because it would break below the 78.6 FIB level, and that could lead to completely new lows. So at the moment, I think the most bullish interpretation would be that it's just going to dip briefly into the yellow support zone, but I would fully expect it to get there now, and see how it reacts to 721 and the trend line. And if it reacts bullishly, it could rally in a C wave and climb higher, but it would have to take out the $10 level, not 10 cents. Did I say 10 cents? Yeah, $10. So it's a very, very relevant level. It's psychological resistance. So yeah, I can't put sound up. Maybe you just increase volume where you are, because just saw a request because I've got it on maximum already. Unless I'm getting very close to the microphone. Yeah, just a question about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, nothing changed, so there's not really much to talk about in addition to previous videos. And we covered Bitcoin initially, so but there's nothing changed on the Bitcoin chart. Absolutely nothing. Okay, there was a request for OGN. I think I've never covered that one, but we can have a quick look while we're all here together. Bit of a non-event, by the way, today, but sometimes still worth doing the live streams for everybody's benefit. So OGN, I don't know which chart to use because I've never looked at it, but this is an all-time downtrend. So this bearish, very easy. It's a 3-wave move up. It's a 5-wave move down. It's a lifetime downtrend, not a bullish chart. I don't see any reason to be positioned on the long side here because it has never rallied in an impulse. Okay, so this bearish chart is one that could eventually be delisted or whatever. So it's like many other altcoin charts as well. If they lose all-time support, they are bearish until proven otherwise. It is what it is. You would certainly not buy this based on Elliott Wave. You could buy it because you believe in it fundamentally, but then that's just hope. But that would be a different way of approaching this. But the most bullish interpretation I see here is really that if it came down in a 5-wave move, and it's just a quick labeling, it might be different. But if it came down in a 5-wave move, at some point it will recover in an ABC structure, may never make a new all-time high again, and then eventually it can always turn bullish. Yeah, that's what I'm not saying it will never, but it could always. But I don't see it on the chart, and it would need to prove that. Okay. That can always happen, but we're not looking at what could happen. We are looking typically at what should happen, and this is a downtrend. Okay, Tomo chain. We can do that for you, Sharma G. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I think we looked at that in a live stream before, in a member live stream. Let's see. Oops. Oh yeah, but I did say this is a trendless chart. I think this is really, really trendless. It doesn't really give us any clear direction here, this chart, unfortunately. But we said, I think, if I look at this, that this would need to show us and prove to us that we are in an uptrend. Let me actually see if I just switching between linear and log charts, because no, I need to go to the log. But it moved the trend line for some reason. Don't know why. But you've got a trend line here, so it's very well respecting the trend line, and it has a chance to give. It needs to give us one more high to show us an impulse. Okay, so it doesn't have. It's only rallied in 3 waves. It always only rallied in 3 waves, unfortunately. So we can give it a chance. I think in this structure it should make one more high if it's bullish. If it breaks below the trend line before that, it's not going to look good. But if it makes one more high, then it has 5 waves, and then we can put an ABC support structure onto the chart. It certainly, even if I measure support now, whatever it's doing, it would be important for this chart to stay above the 78.6 retracement. So it must stay above 41 cents. Below that is really, really bearish. And until then, so for example, if it goes a little higher, we would have to adjust this a little bit. And then it could come back in an ABC structure into this support region. And it may take a while, yeah. And as long as it's holding 41 cents, it could rally in a 3rd wave. But this is very early days. If maybe this was even a wave 1, but it can only be a diagonal. But the problem is the move down wasn't really corrective. So yeah, it's a bit not the best chart. But it has a chance, but it needs to give us one more high. And then we have the next decent trade setup, okay? But as you know, you can trade anything, right? I mean, you could trade here pullbacks to the trend line. It's respecting that quite well. If that's something that you like to do, certainly respecting it. It just can't move away from it. But it might sort of grind a bit higher until it gets a new high. Okay, RV, thank you very much. Okay, DSLA. I remember I looked at that one before. I just can't remember on which chart it was. Let's see if I find it. I thought I had some labels, maybe not. Oops. Nah, didn't. For some reason I've got some fibs here, I don't know why. Anyway, this is also something that I would put into the category of a lifetime downtrend, yeah, which is bearish because this is a clear 5-wave breakdown. So now the only thing that we can discuss about is, did it do this? 1, 2. Just thinking 3, even though this is a high wave 4 and it's going to come down in a wave 5. Or is this a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 already? But then this would be a very weak wave 4, and this is already after a wave 1 to the downside. This is the wave 2 to the upside. This is obviously hard to say, but what I can tell you is that this chart is, let me use the fibs, that this is also a lifetime downtrend chart. So until it reacted to the golden ratio. Problem is, these lifetime downtrend charts, you don't really have an edge with Elliott Wave because it doesn't have an uptrend. It's not it's just trending down, and this looks also like a 3-wave structure up. So I wouldn't really give it a chance. Well, it always has a chance, right? You can always measure the 78.6 retracement here, and if it breaks below that, that's it. That will lead to new lows. I just don't have a clear impulse here, so I'd rather suggest this is a corrective structure to the upside, and it's going in support now, and it's not reacting at all. So next support would be 0.00088, and then 0.0058. But below that 5.8 level, that's it, and I would fully expect new lows. It always has a chance to create a larger A, B, C structure. This is not an impulse, so I will not label that a wave 1 and this a wave 2, because this is not a 5-wave move. At least not a reliable one. So I would assume this could be an A wave, yes, which would in the short term not make a difference. I would assume this is a B wave. And if it's holding in this area, it could give us a C wave higher. But until it gives us a clear 5-wave move like this one and pulls back in a 3-wave move, this will always be a very questionable chart based on the structure. So you can always use other edges or methods, but I don't see anything else. You know, it's also here most recently made another lower low, and a lower low and a lower high compared to the previous one. So it has never broken long-term resistance really, and it's downtrending. Even in the short term, it's now in a downtrend. But I would pay attention to these Fibonacci levels, and I would assume if it manages to break above that 0.0042 level, so this previous swing high, yes, it could get to the next high. But that would also only give us 3 waves. Okay, so yeah, I would avoid these charts personally. Now, if you buy this because of fundamentals or whatever, then at least you have a very clear level, which gives you the break point, the 78.6 fib level. But I don't see a good long-term prospect based on the chart. So the thing is, in an alt season, they can all rally. Okay, it's just that charts which are, for example, in a long-term downtrend, they may never get to a new all-time high. They always could, but we talk about reliable structures here, you know, not hopium, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, hopefully, because hopium doesn't help anyone, right? It hurt enough people, people shilling coins and everything. So yeah, hopefully that helps. And honestly, guys and girls, I think we closed the stream because we've already done basically an hour and nothing happened. Okay, so I will have to close the stream. Actually, I have to get some lunch because I didn't get any lunch so far. And let's just do a final look at Bitcoin. Nothing happened. It was still great to do the live stream, but yeah, I think we stop it here, and then you'll get more updates anyway. For anybody who wants additional updates throughout the day, between videos even, check out our membership. The Gold membership gives you intraday updates and signals and all sorts of stuff, educational content. If anybody wants to learn about Elliott Wave, I think MCO is the place to go. Feel free to check it out. You can always try it for a month, and if you don't like it, you leave. Okay, we're not forcing anyone to stay, and there's no upselling or anything. There's just a membership if you like to support MCO and enjoy the content. Thanks all, really appreciate that, and have a great day. Bye-bye.